की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी सुदर्शन चक्र महाराज की जय। श्री रुक्मिणी विठ्ठलनाथ की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। हिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So continuing to read from the introduction to Shrimad Bhagavatam. Any memory from last week? Huh? Debate? Okay. Okay. You can come closer, otherwise I have to speak very loudly. I don't bite people. Then there was a lot of philosophy. Okay. We'll just touch on certain aspects of it so we refresh our mind. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had said that I understand the shloka itself, but I don't understand your explanations. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was shocked, and then Mahaprabhu started to say that Vyasadeva has explained everything properly in his Vedanta Sutras. It does not require anybody who is less important to give their mundane interpretations on the shlokas of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then the other part was said that Lord Buddha had come, and there was a reason why Lord Buddha appeared, was to deny the authority of the Veda so that people stop animal sacrifice. And then it was very important for Shankaracharya to appear to re-establish the Vedic principles. So Lord Vishnu had ordered Lord Shiva. In Padma Puran there is a pastime in which Lord Vishnu orders Lord Shiva to appear in the form of a Brahmin and basically give the philosophy which is hidden Buddhism. It's almost like Buddhism. They say, no, it's not that the Veda doesn't exist or God doesn't exist. No, he does exist, but he is formless. He does not have a form. Then there was a description given of the three different types of Shaktis of the Lord. Anybody remembers? Three different energies of the Lord. There's external, internal, and marginal. Anybody remembers the Sanskrit names for them? The external energy is called the Bahiranga Shakti. Internal is called Antaranga Shakti, and the marginal energy is called Tatastha Shakti. Okay. So then there was a description that the internal energy, it is being taken care of by the Lord's, his external energy is being taken care of by the Lord's energy, and the name of the energy is Sandhini. Sandhini is the one who takes care of all the external energies of the Lord. The internal energies which gives him pleasure, which he uses, they function in devotional service. That Shakti is called Hladini Shakti. Then then there were the 6 qualities of the Supreme Personality of God had given. That there are 6, they are called the 6 opulences of the Lord. Anybody remembers? One by one? Huh? Fame, beauty, strength. No. Beauty we already said. Renunciation, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Understanding, wisdom, and understanding. Understanding, 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 knowledge, and understanding. Understanding, wisdom, and One more. Fame. Huh? We said that before? So we had fame, beauty, knowledge, strength, renunciation, and
Opulence.
opulence, knowledge. Wisdom. Strength, beauty. Yeah, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Doesn't say wisdom. It's knowledge. So the Lord has to be, and if he has all these qualities, that means he is a person. He cannot be impersonal. He's Bhagavan. And then, as you say, he's Bhagavan. But he has to have a form. He can't be formless. Then the description was given of the living energy is called the Kshetragya. That's his Kshetragya Shakti. Then there were the 8 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. Can we say one by one? Earth, water, fire, air, ether, false ego, mind, and intelligence. Okay? And the Buddhists are called atheists because they have no respect for the Vedas. But those who defy the Vedic conclusions, as above mentioned, under the pretense of being followers of the Vedas, are verily more dangerous than the Buddhists. They're talking about the Mayavadis here. Mayavadis, they clearly say, there is no God. There is nothing. There's one very funny explanations they give. They say, what you see is truth. What you don't see doesn't exist. It's not there. So since you don't see God, there is no God. And the explanation given is, if you are going in the forest and the tree falls down, it makes a loud noise. But it only makes loud noise because you are there. If you are not there and the tree falls down, does it make noise? But you didn't hear it, so it doesn't. That was Lord Buddha's philosophy. So it was explained, that if Krishna wants to deny the Vedas, you can't do anything about it. He denied it. That's why he told Lord Shiva, go and re-establish it. So that's why he comes as Shankaracharya. But Mahaprabhu says, you are just saying that we are the followers of Veda, but you are giving wrong interpretations on the Vedic knowledge. That's why you become more dangerous than the Buddhist. The example is given, if you have an enemy, you know he is your enemy. He's going to do something bad about you. He's going to try to kill you. But then you have an enemy who behaves like a friend. And he's so nice to you and he's so good with you. And what he does, he stabs you in the back. So Mahaprabhu explains that the Mayavada school presented by Shankaracharya are like those friends who are actually your enemies. The Lord further added that the Mayavada philosophy taught by Sripad Shankaracharya is an imaginary explanation of the Veda. They just made it up. Many people have written. They copied Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is. One person wrote Bhagavad Gita as I understand it. Another person wrote Bhagavad Gita as it should be. But another guy wrote Bhagavad Gita. Anyway, as it was, something like that is there. Like funny guys, and then they come up with all weirdo explanations to it. All Mayavadis, just nonsense people. Srila Vyasadeva very kindly compiled the Vedic knowledge in his Vedanta Sutra. But if one hears the commentation of the Mayavada school as it's represented by the Shankara Sampradaya, certainly he will be misled on the path of spiritual realization. Mahaprabhu said, Mayavadi bhashya sunle hoibe sarvanash. If you listen to the philosophy of Mayavad, everything will be destroyed. Sarvanash means everything is destroyed, nothing left. The theory of emanation is the beginning subject of the Vedanta Sutra. All the cosmic manifestations are emanations from the absolute personality of Godhead by his inconceivable different energies. The example of the touchstone is applicable to the theory of emanations. The theory of emanation is, I have one full cup of lemon juice. If I pour something out, do I have a full cup? No, I don't. So that's why God, he cannot be complete, because we all come out from him. But they don't understand the theory of touchstone. You take a touchstone and you touch it to, doesn't matter how many amount of iron there is, it's all going to turn into gold. And the touchstone remains as it is. The very first introductory shloka of Ishopanishad, everyone loves Ishopanishad. Every sampradaya loves Ishopanishad, because Ishopanishad is the first Upanishad. It's actually the original text of the Veda. Other Upanishads may or may not be. Mostly they are not. But Ishopanishad is the last portion of the Atharva Veda. So it starts with Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. There are so many complete Purnas emanating from the personality of Godhead, but he still remains complete. It doesn't become less. That's his speciality. Another example is given of a candle. You may have a room full of candles. You take one candle and you light them all. Does the flame of the first candle get less than as it was before? It doesn't. It just created so many more flames. But they, according to the Mayavad, that is all illusion. In theory, it doesn't exist. What actually exists is you are God and I am God. And when we die, we are going to merge into the God. Swami Nityananda. The theory of illusion of the Mayavada school is advocated on the ground that the theory of emanation will cause a transformation of the absolute truth. Just we explained with the lemon juice. You pour it out, oh, there is emanation. There is transformation of the absolute truth. Absolute truth is changes its forms. If that is the case, then Vyasadeva is wrong. If emanation is there and this absolute truth gets transformed, Vyasadeva is wrong. Then Shankaracharya is more qualified than Vyasadeva, who is Lord himself. To avoid this, they have skillfully brought in the theory of illusion. So no, it's there in your imagination. It exists somewhere. Where? We don't know. It's all illusion. But the world, all the cosmic creation is not false as maintained by the Mayavada school. It is simply has no permanent existence. Just like our phones. We buy 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 worth phone. We use it with our heart and soul. We keep it very safe. We put a nice, tempered glass in the front. We put a nice shock absorber case at the back. It doesn't last more than 3-4 years. It breaks. We use the same amount of amenity as much as we would use it for buying the phone. Still, 3-4 years later, it's destroyed. Doesn't last longer than that. So is the existence of this phone false? No, it exists. If I dial a number and if I call somebody, it will ring and I can speak to the person. If I text a message, it will go to the person. Right? So it's not false. It is just temporary. But the Mayavada school says no, the existence of this phone is false. Does that make any sense to anyone? I think it does, only to the Shankaras. Yes.
What's their explanation for that it's false?
It's not complete. It doesn't exist. They don't understand the difference of being temporary and permanent. Some things are temporary, some things are permanent. But for them, it's all illusion, non-existent.
So anything permanent for them is
The only thing permanent is the impersonal Brahman, which is true. It's not that it's not true, but at the same time, you can't say that it is false. If something is not permanent, it cannot be false. It is just temporary. You understand? It is very expertly moved to deviate the minds of people, get them confused. And more confused you are, the higher you are. In the ladder of the seniority. Completely confused people. But very, scholarly presentations they will have. They can, they can speak like Shastras in and out, quote shlokas, from Shastras that we haven't even heard about. But practical application is zero. That's why, for them, if you ask them the definition of happiness, what is the definition of happiness? For their definition of happiness is where there is no suffering, which is true. But you also have a stage in which not necessarily you are happy, nor are you sad. You are just there, right? But they don't think about that part. So their philosophy is not complete. So you can only become happy if you merge into Brahman, because then you are Brahman, then you are God, and you can do anything. So if somebody takes a stick and hit you on the head, you are suffering because you are in pain. But as soon as the pain is gone, are you actually happy? No. You need something more to become happy. Maybe somebody gives you a cup of ice cream, you will be happy. Right? Or somebody takes you out on a jet ski or on Ganga, you will be happy. Right? But just because you are not in pain doesn't make you happy. But that's their philosophy. When you're not in pain, you are happy. Does that make sense? It's a little incomplete what they talk about, because they don't understand. They talk about the Lord being impersonal. How can they be complete? Pranava, or the Omkar in the Vedas, is the primeval hymn. This transcendental sound is identical with the form of the Lord. Krishna says, Shabdat Omkar Pranavasmi. I am the Omkara among sound. That's him. Krishna says. So, many times you see, just the letter Om written. That is Krishna. Because Om is a combination of three letters. A, U, Ma. If you put them together, A, U, Ma, it becomes Aum. Becomes Om. So, Om are the three energies of the Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita, A, U, Ma. Chaitanya Charitamrita is such a philosophical book. your hair will split into two. So philosophical. Ma, that is Om. Why? What is It's the internal energy. What is U? Is the Jiva, is the marginal energy. Ma is the external energy. Combine these two to get three together becomes Om. So that is Krishna. This transcendental sound is identical with the form of the Lord. All the Vedic hymns are based on this Pranava Omkar. Tattvam Asi is but a side word in the Vedic literature. But for the Mayavadis, this is called Mahavakya. Mahavakya means it's a great sentence. What? Tattvam Asi. I am that. I am that, I am that, I am that, I am that. All this is me. Some devotee made a joke on it. He said there was one Mayavadi. He just heard a lecture from his guru where they said Tattvamasi, you are that. Means that is who? That is the God. You are God, Tattvamasi. And he heard that and he walked down, he came out of the class. He's going back home and there is a mad elephant running towards him. He's running on the street. And all the people are running around here and there, and this person is just looking. What happens? Gets trampled by the elephant. Then, he comes back together. He crawls back to his teacher's house and he says, Dear Guru Maharaj, if I am that, if I am God, how come I got, how to say? Crushed by the elephant. Guru says, stupid, fool, unintelligent person. Didn't you see God was running towards you? You should have moved. How does that make any sense? He's a bigger God. Why? Because his body is big. Tattvamasi is a side sentence of the Veda. Omkara is the form of the Lord himself. But they take those side things here and there and make it very big. Mahavakyas. Sripad Shankaracharya has given more stress on the side word Tattvamasi than on the primeval principle Omkara. The Lord thus spoke on Vedanta Sutra and defied all propagandas of the Mayavada school. The Bhattacharya tried to defend himself and his Mayavada school by jugglery of logic and grammar. But the Lord defeated him by his forceful arguments. If you ever come in touch with any of these Mayavadis, you can only and only defeat them by forceful arguments. Because the way how they will speak is so nice, so refined, so polite, and completely insane. And when you start getting annoyed, they will tell you, you are a devotee, Prabhuji. You are a Hare Krishna person. Don't worry, this is illusion. We are actually not suffering from the chance. This is all illusion. Yes. So, yes. So then you have to be forceful in your arguments. If you hear the discussion of Srila Prabhupada is extremely forceful when he's talking to all these different varieties of atheistic people. Unless you are forceful, they won't listen to you. He affirmed that we are all related with the personality of Godhead eternally, and that devotional service is our eternal function in exchanging the dealings of our relationship. What is our true identity? Anybody knows what is our true identity? Gauranga? Mahaprabhu explains it in one. Sorry? Yes, servant of Krishna. Haribol! That is our true identity. We are a servant of Krishna, which means we have a relationship with the Lord. The result of such exchange is to attain prema or love of Godhead. When love of Godhead is attained, love for all other beings automatically follows, because the Lord is the sum total of all living entities. There are so many communities they are working for. Save the whale, save the sharks, save the dogs. Nobody talks about saving mother cow, because that's a very good meal, no? Everybody wants to eat. So no saving mother cow, because she's food. But if you start loving Krishna, we have examples of terrible hunters who would enjoy the suffering of dying animals. Anybody knows the name of this hunter? Huh? Mrigari. He would kill the animals just to the point that they are not fully dead. They are suffering, and he loves watching it, how they are suffering. Narad Muni, once he came, he saw this. A whole road leading up to Mrigari was full of these dying animals. Narad Muni asked, "Why are you doing this?" He said, "Oh, because I enjoy it." He said, "Do you know all these people are waiting in line when you're going down to hell? They are all going to torture you." Oh. Says, "And who is responsible for all this?" "Nobody will support you." Says, "No, my family will support me." "Yeah, you think so? Go ask." He goes up to his dearmost wife. Says, "My dear wife, I have killed so many animals, have created so much sinful activities for myself. Will you share this pile of sinful reactions with me?" "No. That's your job to feed me and the family. Why should I share the sinful reactions? You bring it with pious reactions, I will cook. You bring it in pious way, I will cook. It's your job." Oh, my son loves me more. My son will help me. "Dear son, will you?" "Ah, forget it, father. I heard." "I'm not in this game with you." "Oh, dear parents?" "No. It's all yours." And then he's scared. What am I going to do? Runs back to Narad Muni. "Save me! Save me!" Narad Muni says, "Give it up. Chant the names of Lord Vishnu. You will be, liberated." And Narad Muni goes by. Comes back after some time with his friend Parvata Muni. Says, "Let's see." I had given some class to one boy, one hunter. "Let's see if anything has changed." What do they see? He sees his Guru Maharaj coming. He runs, but then he stops. Why? Because there is a line of ants going there, and he doesn't want to kill them. The person who was happy enjoying the death of animals is not willing to now hurt even an ant. Why? Because he started loving Krishna. And Krishna is the sum total of all the living entities. So if you want to love anyone and everyone, you just love Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a shloka given. The learned sage, he sees the Brahmin boy, the elephant, the dog, and the man Chandala, a dog eater, with same vision. Why? Because he sees the Paramatma residing in their heart. Bhagavad Gita speaks about it. Why? How is that possible? Because you're constantly involved in serving Krishna with love and devotion. When you do that, you're successful. One very good example of such a devotee we have in Mayapur, they are brothers. Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada said about them, these two brothers don't know anything with the other than serving the Lord. They don't know anything. The only thing they do is serving the Lord. Very good example. We can associate with them. Take their blessings, take their example, and live a life like them. Surrendered to Krishna. The Lord said, but for these three items, namely eternal relation with God, exchange of dealings with Him, and the attainment of love for Him, all that is instructed in the Vedas in superfluous and concocted. That's what they are explaining. The Lord further added that the Mayavada philosophy taught by Sripad Shankaracharya is an imaginary explanation of the Vedas, but it had to be taught by him because he was ordered to teach it by the personality of Godhead. In the Padma Puran, it is stated that the personality of Godhead ordered His Lordship Shiva to deviate the human race from the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead was to be so covered that the people would be encouraged to generate more and more population. His Lordship Shiva said to Devi, in the Kali Yuga, I shall preach the Mayavada philosophy, which is nothing but clouded Buddhism, in the garb of a Brahmana. After hearing all these speeches of the Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Bhattacharya was struck with wonder and awe and regarded him in dead silence. The Lord then encouraged him with assurance that there was no cause to wonder. I say that devotional service unto the personality of Godhead is the highest goal of human life. We create so many goals. In next 5 years, I want to have my own house. Then I want to have a good bank balance. Then I want to have a beautiful wife. Then I want to have, this. Then I want to have that and that and that and that and that. Okay, fine, whatever. But the ultimate goal of human life is devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. Right? That should not be deviated. Many times, the devotees would tell Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, so many devotees, disciples the term was used, blooping. You know what is a blooped devotee? Anybody in the young generation knows what is a blooped devotee? Yagya, you know? What's a blooped devotee? Yeah, but do you know why is he called blooped? Yeah. Yeah, water, you drop a rock or something inside, the last sound that comes is bloop. That's why the devotees were called, he's blooped. That's why they call him bloop devotee. So many the children of the devotees were dropping out. Srila Prabhupada said, don't be worried. They have tasted Krishna consciousness. How far can you go? You can rebel, right? I don't want to do Krishna conscious anymore. That's it. I'm going to go against Krishna consciousness. Let me go and drink alcohol. He goes there. What is the first thing going to come into his mind? The picture from Bhagavad Gita. In the photograph, you drink so much, and then the Yamadutas are pouring melted iron inside your mouth. You are going to think about it. You know it's going to happen. But the nature is such that you will do it. And how long can you do it? Having tasted Krishna consciousness, how long can you remain a blooped devotee? A few years later, we start seeing, they start coming back. And when they come back, it's not that they have to start from the beginning. Immediately, they are on the level that they ended with. If they were good book distributors, when they join again, they are back to that being a good book distributor. If they were a good cook for the Lord, that's where they start with. If they were a good preacher, that's where they start with. Because devotional service never finishes. Sri Prabhupada always said, never be amazed by the amount of people who left Krishna consciousness. Just be amazed by the amount of who stayed. Because it's, we always think that other thing is more, how to say, the grass is greener in the other side of the fence. Once I have achieved this, oh, look at that, that one is so much better. I remember as a kid, when we would go to school, we had to wear half pants. That was a school uniform, you wear half pants. And we used to use pencils to write. We were not allowed to use pens. Because when you write with pencils, apparently it develops your handwriting and all those kind of things. So we would wonder, when will I get that chance that we can wear full pants? When we can start writing with pens and not pencils? And when we got that opportunity to write, didn't touch pencil again for a long time. Why? Because, that's for, those babies. Just 1 year back, I was a baby and now I am a big guy. But eventually we grow out of that. It doesn't matter. And now you see all adults roaming around with half pants. Who bothers what you're going to use to write with? Once you are an adult, is it a pen, is it a pencil, is it a marker, is it a permanent marker? What do you care? You just need something to write. Right? Because all these things just comes and goes. What is important? That the ultimate goal of our life is Krishna consciousness. He then quoted a shloka from the Bhagavatam and assured him that even the liberated souls who are absorbed in the spirit and spiritual realization also take to devotional service of Lord Hari, because the personality of Godhead has such transcendental qualities that he attracts the heart of liberated souls too. If you read Jaiva Dharma, it's talking about this particular Mayavada sannyasi who got so attracted to this one Vaishnava who was just singing the glories of the Lord. And then, he comes all the way to Navadvip. He comes in Surabhi Kunj. Yeah, he comes to Surabhi Kunj and he starts associating with the sadhus there. Because it's so attractive that even liberated people, when Shukadev Goswami was born, he was born 16 years old. And he ran away. He says, I don't want to get attracted to this family life. I don't want to get involved in Grihastha ashram. Leave me alone. Big rebel. Leave me alone. He ran from his house. Now Vyasadeva is running behind him. Oh dear son, come back. Doesn't listen. He starts quoting verses from Shrimad Bhagavatam. Immediately, you turn and back to house. Why? Because it attracted even the liberated souls. And what was his level of liberation? I'll say a small story about his liberation. Once, All the demigods got together. Pleasant, enjoying life, nothing to do, everything is working out well. So let's sit down and have some prajalpa. Right? So all the demigods are sitting there chatting. Full on prajalpa. And when demigods get to prajalpa, it's a little bit too much. There is a whole book if you want to know what demigods talk about in their prajalpa time. That book is called Kathasarita Sagara. It's 3 times bigger than Bhagavatam. And it is 1/10 of the original version. Anyway, I'll tell you 2 stories now. If I don't say this story, no one digest my prasadam at night. One day Parvati Devi, she told Lord Shiva, tell me stories that nobody in the entire creation knows about. He says, whoa, okay. He says, why? He says, because I'm a woman, and when I go out to get water from the well, there are all these women around there and they are talking about it, and I want to be on the top of the pile, so I can tell them stories which nobody has heard them. Okay? So Lord Shiva, he told all the gods and everybody move out of this place, including bugs, animals, birds, everyone out. And Lord Shiva sat down with Parvati Devi there. Unfortunately, 2 men, 2 of his servants, got stuck. And Mahadev already started saying stories. And Parvati Devi is listening to them. Now what are they going to do? If they move around, they are going to disturb Mahadev. And when Mahadev is disturbed, he opens his 3rd eye and you exist no more. You become impersonal after that. So they said, okay, let's just hide. They hid themselves, heard all the stories, went outside. Next day morning, when Parvati Devi goes out to get water from Alakananda, all the women are there and they are talking about these stories. And now Parvati Devi is fried, angry. She comes back, says, everyone knows these stories. What kind of stories you have told me? Everybody knows about it. Like, what? Mahadev is thinking, how everybody knows about it. So he meditated, found out that these were these people, calls them, fires them, right? You're out of job. What do you have to do? You go to the earthly planet and you write down all these stories and let the humans know about these stories. That's your punishment. So they come, they go to the king and they say, hello sir, respected sir, we have this whole pile of stories and we want it printed. He says, okay, show me. And the language used is called Paishachi. Paishachi language means it's spoken by Pishachas. Now Pishachas are a kind of ghostly people. The king looks at it and he says, get lost. We have languages like Sanskrit, which is called Deva Bhasha, is the language of gods. You're giving me a book written in Paishachi. Get out. Throws them out. And then few days later, the king is out hunting. There is no animal or bird anywhere in the forest. So he sends his soldiers. They come back and tell him that there are 2 sadhus reciting some stories and all the animals are there listening to those stories. And he comes back and he sees this Brahmin is out there reading the story, putting inside the fire. Reading one page, putting it inside the fire. He's like, hey, hold on a second, what are you reading? Is that the same story? Paichachi language? He said, so? He says, don't burn it. He says, even the animals are attracted to it, it must be good. I will print them. He says, well, only 1/10 of it is left now. Everything else is destroyed. So he's like, no problem, whatever is there you give. And so they gave him, and then he printed. It's called Kathasarita Sagar. It's 3 times bigger than Bhagavatam. We have them in Gurukul. Few boys took up the challenge of reading it, but it is so much prajalpa involved, nobody handled it. After 1 or 2 books, they were like, forget it, kept the book down. Insane amount of prajalpa. Anyway, so going back to the story of Shukadev Goswami. So these all these demigods are sitting and doing total prajalpa. And they decided, okay, let's find out who's the best brahmachari in the universe. Nothing better to do in life, than finding the best brahmachari in the universe. So everybody's quoting, oh, what about him? They're like, nah, he has this problem. Oh, what do you think about that? Ah, no, he has this problem. Oh, he has that problem. Oh, he has that problem. 2 perfect brahmacharis came out in the universe. There was Shukadev Goswami and Narada Muni. Now they are like, okay, now among these 2, who is the better one? Why do you need to know? Says, okay, so let's find out. Who is going to test them? Nobody dares. How? How are they going to find out who is a better brahmachari among the 2? Nobody wants to test these 2 brahmacharis. He says, okay, if we can't do it, we got to find someone to do it. Right? When the boss doesn't want to do the job himself, he calls his man, hey, like, get this thing done. Sir, I don't know how to do it. Figure it out. Right? Same thing happened. They came to Janaka Maharaj, father of Sita Devi. They said, oh, he's so happy. All the demigods are there, appeared in his assembly. He worships them, gives them a seat. It's like, please order me. What service can I do to you? Oh, yeah, that's what we came for. We have these 2 brahmacharis in the universe, and we want you to find out who's the best one. Can I not do that, please? Says, no, you promised. You are a kshatriya. Whatever a kshatriya says has to be done. Demigods disappeared. Let's find out. What is he going to do? He's stressed. He can't focus in his kingly duties. He's not able to eat or drink. He's not able to sleep. He's completely disturbed. How am I going to find out? And his wife, she notices, my husband is suffering. Says, my dear Lord, what is disturbing you so much? Says, well, I have to find out who is a better brahmachari between Narada Muni and Shukadev Goswami. And she says, that's it? And for this reason you are, suffering so much? He says, how? I don't know. He says, don't worry, I will find out. He says, how? He says, that you leave it up to me. I'll take care of it. You just organize for a huge festival and invite these 2 brahmacharis as chief guest. So that was done. All the demigods are invited. All the different kings are invited. There is so much festivities happening. The glories of the Lord is being chanted. Dancings are happening. Prasad distribution, charity. Brahmins are happy. Yagyas, everything is going on. And Narada Muni and Shukadev Goswami are made to sit on this beautiful asana. And they are watching everything, enjoying the whole atmosphere. In the middle of all these things happening, Janaka Maharaj's wife, she dresses up very nicely. She is extremely beautiful. And on top of that, dressed up very nicely, she starts walking right from the center of this whole program. And she is so beautiful that the program stops. And everyone is just looking at her. And she comes close to the esteemed guest, the 2 brahmacharis, and just sits down between the 2 of them. And Narada Muni goes like that. She stood up and said, Shukadev Goswami is the best of all brahmacharis. Like, whoa, hold on a second. How? She said, Narada Muni made a difference of, I am a man, she is a woman. For Shukadev Goswami, we are all jivas. I am part of Brahman, she is part of Brahman. What does it matter? Just think about the Lord. That level of liberated personality is Shukadev Goswami. And what does Mahaprabhu say? Don't be so, wonderstruck. Because the pastimes of Krishna even attracts the liberated souls. So if Shukadev Goswami can get attracted, anyone can get attracted. So we will end today's class on the note of What is the highest goal in the human form of life?
Krishna Prema Bhakti.
Krishna Prema Bhakti. Hare Krishna.
Sorry.
Any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu.
I heard one sloka from Shrimad Bhagavatam, second chapter, 11. Vadanti
First canto.
Second chapter,
Okay, right here.
11.
Yes.
Vadanti tat tattvam vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam. Brahmiti paramatmiti bhagavaniti shakya.
Yes.
According to your lecture.
Yes.
Because we speak about it.
It says, learned transcendentalist who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, and or Bhagavan. He's a non-dual substance. He cannot be divided. He's one personality. But those who are learned, they understand him as Brahman, or the impersonal feature of the Lord, or Paramatma, who is localized in every jiva, in every atom, between every atom, or as Bhagavan, who is enjoying the pastimes together with his devotees. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so we will end.
About Goswami and Narayana, what's about Kumara?
The four Kumaras? We would ask the demigods what their thought was on that one. Because four Kumaras, see, they are all liberated personalities. I don't know what was their discussion, the demigods.
Everyone is Bhagavan.
Yes,
So,
yes. Okay, so we will end here. Grantaraj Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Arati.